Ag PhD full episodes and more are now available on Acres TV, the newest ag platform connecting you to fields of information. Look for us on watchacrestv.com.
During our Farm Basics time today, we're going to talk a little about soybean growth and development, starting with the soybean plants just coming out of the ground, which may be happening on your farm today.
Well, it is a really important time for soybeans as they're coming up through the ground, because those first two, what look like leaves that you're going to see, are actually the cotyledons, which are the two halves of the seed. So emergence is critical, because if one of those breaks off, if both of those breaks off, it could be the end for that soybean plant. So we really like to see those two cotyledons, and then we'd honestly like to see those cotyledons stay green as long as possible into the season. That's a pretty good indication of plant health and the nutrition that you've got around that plant.
Now, before we go any further, I just want to say this one more time, because especially if you're a non-farmer, you may have missed that. The seed actually splits in two and becomes the first two leaves that we call the cotyledons. So soybeans are a very unusual plant.
Well, they are, and those cotyledons are a little thicker, and they've got a lot of nutrition in them to try to feed the plant early until the root system can start bringing in a lot of the nutrients from the soil and from the fertilizer that you may have put alongside those plants. Now, after those two cotyledon leaves, the very next set of true leaves that you're going to see are called unifoliates. There's one leaflet that's going to come out on each side of the stem, just opposite each other. And that's the last time we expect to see a single leaflet on our plant.
After we get the unifoliates done, then we're talking about trifoliate leaves. So on the main stem, every branch that's going to come off after that is going to pop out three leaves. Trifoliates is what we call those. So yeah, again, I think soybeans are kind of an interesting plant. You got cotyledons, then you got unifoliates, and then everything else will be trifoliates.
Well, when those trifoliates come out, they're going to be all rolled up. And as those leaflets fully open up, then we're going to count that as the next leaf stage. So at the unifoliate leaves, that's stage one here, but now we're going to see how many trifoliates we're going to have after that, and each set of trifoliates that fully opens is one we can count.
In the northern United States, we have what's called indeterminate soybeans, so they will mature based on the shortening of the days. The longest day of the year is June 21st. After that point, you're going to see soybeans flowering, eventually podding, and filling those pods. Flowering is a super key stage for every farmer out there, because at that point, the soybean plant becomes way more sensitive. In other words, all stresses can do much more yield damage after that point. Prior to flowering, it's not so bad. Any little weather issue that happens, even a little bit of hail, something like that, no big deal. After flowering, we're really concerned.
And there are different types of beans in the south. Brian mentioned indeterminate beans in the north. We've got determinate beans in the south. That means they're going to go through all the vegetative growth first, then they're going to put flowers on and go through all the reproductive stages. So there are some advantages and some disadvantages to that. Obviously, in the north, that just doesn't work. We don't have a long enough growing season. We don't have that flexibility to adapt to a late planted situation where, hey, the longest days of the year might be just a few days after you get the beans in the ground.
All right, a little bit earlier I was mentioning stress, and we really worry about stress in soybeans. Well, one of the biggest stressors out there is weeds. Can you identify this week's Weed of the Week?